E-waste and its negative effects on the environment. A few questions to consider. Do you still watch movies from VCR player? More than likely, no. Are you purchasing the latest cell phone every time a new one is released? If you're like almost 50% of iPhone users, that answer is probably yes. How many computers have you gone through in your lifetime? Probably quite a few. Have you recently updated any large house appliances? Maybe because studies show people are buying a new appliances more than ever. So the real question is, where do all of those obsolete, outdated, or non-functioning electronics go? Electronic waste, also known as a waste, is in electronic products or product containing electronic components that has reached the end of its usable life cycle. Unbeknownst to many consumers, electronics actually contain toxic substances. Therefore, they must be handled with care when no longer wanted or needed. If a product is outdated, consumers can donate it to someone who might still find it valuable. Many retailers also offer trade-in programs or incentive for people looking to upgrade electronics that require the surrender or an older model. The retailers are able to repurpose the older models. However, if a product is totally unusable or broken, instead of just being thrown in the garbage, it must be thrown away by certified e-waste hauler or recycler, or taken to designated drop-off at the government building, school, or organization as e-waste can potentially cause harm to humans, animals, and the global environment if disposed of improperly. The consequences of improper e-waste disposal in landfills or other non-dumping sites pose serious threats to current public health and can pollute ecosystem for generations to come. When electronics are improperly disposed and end up in landfill, toxic chemicals are released, impacting the earth, air, soil, water, and ultimate human health. What are examples of electronic products? Consumer electronics applications, mobile devices, wearables, TVs, set-top boxes, monitors, laptops, tablets, computers, appliances, and white goods, computers, printers, scanners. What are examples of electronic components? What are the electronic components? Microcontroller, transformer, battery, fuse, relays, switches, motors, circuit breakers. May mga halimbawa na sumusunod. Ano-ano ba ang mga ito at sino ang apektado? Ito'y maaaring sanhi sa hangin, sa tubig, lupa, at malaking mapipinsala ang tao. Ano ba ang dapat at hindi dapat nating gawin? Pakipaliwanag Miss Joyce C. Dacara, Miss Charlene Soberano, Miss Andrea Eunice Tariga, Miss Erica Pascual.
The negative effects on soil. When improper disposal of e-waste and regular landfills are in place where it is dumped illegally, both heavy metals and flame retardants can seep directly from the e-waste into the soil, causing contamination of underlying groundwater or contamination of crops that may be planted nearby or in the area in the future. When the soil is contaminated by heavy metal, the crops become vulnerable to absorbing these toxins, which can cause many illness and doesn't allow the farmland to be as productive as possible. When the large particles are released from burning, shredding, or dismantling e-waste, they quickly redeposit to the ground and contaminated the soil as well. Due to their size and weight, The amount of soil contaminated depends on the range of factors including temperature, soil type, pH level, and soil composition. These pollutants can remain in the soil for a long period of time and can be harmful to microorganisms in the soil and plants. Ultimately, animals and wildlife relying on nature for survival will end up consuming affected plants, causing internal health problems.
The negative effects on humans. As mentioned, electronic waste contains toxic components that are dangerous to human health, such as mercury, lead, cadmium, polybromated film retardants, barium, and lithium. The negative health effect of this toxin on humans included brain, heart, liver, kidney, and skeletal system damage. It can also considerably affect the nervous and reproductive system of the human body, leading to disease and birth defects. Improper disposal of e-waste is unavailably dangerous to the global environment, which is why it is so important to spread awareness on this growing problem and the retaining aftermath. To avoid these toxic effects of e-waste, it is crucial to properly recycle so that items can be recycled, refurbished, resold, or reused. The growing term of e-waste will only worries if not educated on the correct measures.
The negative effect on water. After soil contamination, heavy metals from e-waste such as mercury, lithium, lead, and barium then leak through the earth even further to reach groundwater. They eventually make their way into ponds, streams, rivers, and lakes. Through these pathways, acidification and toxification are created in the water. What is acidification? Acidification is to make acid or to convert into an acid that can cause metals and their compound to ionize or producing ions in concentration high for animals, plants, and communities, even if they are miles away from a recycling site. Clean drinking water becomes problematic to find. So, how does acidification affect water? Acidification reduces the amount of carbonate, a key building block in seawater. This makes more difficult for marine organisms such as coral and some plankton to form their shells and skeletons, and existing shells may begin to dissolve. Acidification can kill marine and freshwater organisms, disturb biodiversity, and harm ecosystem. If acidification is present in water supplies, it can damage ecosystem. The most effective way to limit acidification is to act on climate change. Implementing solutions dramatically reduce their use of fossils of fuels. If we dramatically cut out our global warming emissions and we limit future warmings, we can significantly reduce the harm to marine ecosystem.
The negative effect on air. Contamination in the air occurs when e-waste is informally disposed by dismantling, shredding, or melting the materials, releasing dust particles or toxins such as dioxin into the environment that cause air pollution and damage respiratory health. E-waste of little value is often burned, but burning also serves a way to get variable metal from electronics like copper. Chronic disease and cancer are at a higher risk to occur when burning e-waste because it also releases fine particles which can travel thousands of miles, creating numerous negative health risks to human and animals. Higher value materials such as gold and silver are often removed from a highly integrated electronic by using acid, desoldering, and other chemical which also release foam into areas where recycling is not regulated properly. The negative effect on air from informal e-waste recycling are most dangerous for those who handle this waste, but the pollution can extend thousands of miles away from recycling sites. The air pollution caused by e-waste infects some animal species more than others, which may be endangering these species and the biodiversity of certain regions that are chronically polluted. Over time, air pollution can hurt water quality, soil, and plant species, creating irreversible damage in ecosystem. For instance, an informal recycling hub in Jiangsu, China that was formed by parties and interested in the extracting variable metal from e-waste and subsequently has caused the regions to have extremely high lead level in the air, which are inhaled and then ingested when returned to water and soil. This can cause disproportionate neurological damage to larger animal, wildlife, and human in the area.